Hello, hello. If you're joining on LinkedIn, I'm looking forward to nerding out with you in just a second about all about is Giving Tuesday dead? I'm going to go ahead and invite on Instagram followers as well. So, for those of you joining on Instagram right here and LinkedIn right here, I want to apologize to people on Instagram. This is not the best framing ever. If you're following this, and I recommend going to check it out in the comments. If you're following this, this is not what I would recommend, but I do recommend content over perfection. And I just wanted to make sure to get this content to you as valuable content as soon as possible. So, for many nonprofits and actually most organizations that I've talked to, I'm currently recording this live the Friday after Giving Tuesday in 2025. And so, one of the things that is happening with Giving Tuesday, sorry, I just realized I was supposed to be on YouTube too, and I don't know what happened, but this is not live on YouTube. Apologies. One of the things that happened with Giving Tuesday this year is I almost always, I would think 99.999% of the time for fundraising campaigns, know exactly how much money will be raised. Like it's math, right? There's predictability. And for end of year giving, where 30% of an organization's donations are usually come in, there's a certain element of like when you're doing your campaign for campaign launch, kind of, this is not my first rodeo. I think I was counting after these campaigns, I meant like digital marketing fundraising campaign number 44 or 45. I don't know how to do math, 44 or 45. So not my first rodeo, but this is my first rodeo with multiple campaigns not exceeding. I've never even just met. I've only exceeded digital marketing campaign goals. And so what I'm going to tell you is I am not the only one. And actually, I spent a lot of time in Facebook groups for nonprofits to connect, to understand more what's happening in our space, in our sector. And I have yet to talk to a nonprofit leader who is not disappointed, frustrated, confused by their Giving Tuesday campaigns. If you're one of those nonprofit leaders that rocked their campaign and brought in so much more money than they thought they were going to for Giving Tuesday, and more than they have ever before, please, please, please drop it in the comments because you'll be the first I've talked to. And I've been talking to a lot of nonprofit leaders. Something weird is happening with Giving Tuesday. And I want to, in this live, go through a couple of things I know to be happening and a couple of my suspicions and truly answer the question with you. Is Giving Tuesday dead? Now, the funny thing is, I realized when everything was happening on Giving Tuesday and Wednesday, and then some of the emails I was getting from tech providers related to donations, is I recorded this exact same live last year. I also was motivated enough by the conversations that were happening that I did a video. Is Giving Tuesday dead? Now, if you follow my end of year giving recommendations, I do tend to not recommend Giving Tuesday. Now, for a lot of our clients, we focused on the giving week as a whole as opposed to just one day, and saw better returns than probably just a Giving Tuesday return. Even I know an email went out this morning, their donation's still coming in. So that is one aspect of things. Anyway, there are some weird things happening. And again, if you are a nonprofit leader and you're watching this and you're like, no, we had the most rockstar giving campaign. We raised so much more money. I remember back in the day, pre-COVID, where you would do what I'll call authentic, good enough, dynamic, do 3 or 4 lives in a day, a couple of posts, update on progress, make sure to think and engage, have activate your board, then activated their networks. And it would easily, like a $1 million operating budget nonprofit organization, could easily bring in $30,000 to $50,000 just by doing best practices. Now, I don't know about you, but we those best practices post COVID aren't working for Giving Tuesday. And what I think is the culture of giving is starting to change. And if you follow along, there are some things happening in the background. This is a digital marketing campaign. There are things happening in the background with Google, with Meta, with even we had, and I'm not going to say the tech provider, but we have an organization we partner with that's using one of the donation platforms we don't recommend, but they've already used it. They didn't want to change, and they're like, okay. And on Giving Tuesday, that tech platform shut down. So, of course, they didn't get as many donations because most people that were trying to donate couldn't even access a way to donate, which is very unfortunate. And if you were also using that platform, I'm sorry, it was very frustrating to us too. But that's one thing that's happening, right? Tech platforms there are more of them now, which is wonderful. But some of them, are probably playing in spaces they shouldn't be because they haven't done enough research and they don't really have the infrastructure. Like this, we got a couple emails from the CEO of this one tech company about all the reasons that they were shut down. I'm like, no, like people are paying you to use your product. It should work. Like it's really that simple. And if it doesn't work, like that's your problem, not ours as the consumers. And it's definitely like a little bit of me is like, I think they should refund all the money for that. And that's so sad for a lot of nonprofits. I'm sorry if that was your organization. It was one of ours where their online donation platform didn't even work. But the other thing that I've seen, and go ahead and Google about it, but Google might not even tell you, is that Google itself is deprioritizing searches and emails with the term Giving Tuesday in it. Now, I don't know why that's happening. And that's not just like dark web Reddit. These are like legitimate sources saying that that's what's going on. So email deliverability is down. If you're boosting ads for Giving Tuesday, they're probably not performing as well as if it didn't have the word Giving Tuesday in it. And that's in the title or the description, if it's depending on social media platform. I do think that the powers that be are trying to, for one reason or another, and I'm not quite sure, but there are lots of changes happening with Meta and PayPal, with different pay providers, but the powers that be are definitely trying to make Giving Tuesday no longer a thing. So one of the things, we'd love to say like, oh, donors, messaging, like, yes, those are our things. We've, full transparency, we had some rock star campaigns that did not perform nearly as well as I thought they would. And I'm like, what? Like, what? And a lot of it was deliverability and reach. It was not, so like, you can't get people to donate if they're not seeing things. If they're not watching the video, they're not going to be inspired. And so the powers that be, Google and Meta, I think are working to, I said, is Giving Tuesday dead? Working to kind of kill Giving Tuesday, make sure that Giving Tuesday is not a thing, make sure that there's probably going to be some other thing that pops up next year. My suspicions are that is really, really driven through Facebook or driven through Google. And it'll be interesting to see. Like, I think both powers are trying to like shut it down, but I think something new will come up. Now, again, I'm recording this January 20 to 21st are right around the corner. So one of the things that I heard from others all of the time, there's always some excuse, right? Well, the markets. Well, I'm in Illinois right now. It's very much agricultural and like, yeah, in the ag space, things are not going well this year. So I've heard a lot of what I usually call rumblings, and it happens every year, some excuse about why donors aren't donating. And yeah, we're hearing a lot of things about political uncertainty right now, a lot of things about markets, a lot of things about cost of food, as reasons why donors aren't donating right now. Now, typically, I think, I mean, if you've been around for a while, right? This is, I think, my 17th year in nonprofit fundraising. People always say that. There's always some little, right, situationship that's causing this thing when I'm like, no, you just need to like rock your next campaign, and you can like fight through anything to get people to donate. This year is different. And I can't wait to see the numbers coming out in February and March, where, typically end of year giving, you're getting, most organizations are getting 30% plus of their operating budget coming in the month of December. So I think we're going to see something different happen this year. And what I hope doesn't happen, I hope it's that, donor habits are starting to change, but there's still the same amount of money coming in. But there's a chance, right, that donations are down and across the board. And I would suspect, and again, if you're watching this and you're like, no, our Giving Tuesday campaign, like we brought in way more money than we thought, like, please tell me. The one thing I can tell you is either donors are bored of Giving Tuesday, donors are bored of being asked for money, which I don't think is the thing. I think that's the secret power that be tech stuff happening, which is legitimate. And go ahead and look at your reach from like 5 years ago versus now for the same type of content. So the power of, Google and Meta are not being our friends when it comes to nonprofits on Giving Tuesday. I think there are so many tech platforms out there now to collect donations, and so many of them aren't good. And we saw that with things breaking down or not working, or being overloaded. So there wasn't, the ability to actually make donations on Giving Tuesday, which is so sad. Um, but yeah, I do think, and I don't know the why, but I do believe that Giving Tuesday is dead. And I will say, as an agency owner serving nonprofit organizations, especially social service agencies in basic needs, so um, food and shelter, that we like next year. And one of the things I talk about in our free guide to Giving Tuesday is one of the key questions you asked before, like how, is like, should you be doing it? And I give all the key questions on should you be doing it, but I think I'm going to gear more and more organizations into no. And if you're watching this right now and watching it live, I would highly recommend that you start to think about um, I highly recommend that you start to think about a spring campaign or something different, a new way to show up, that really you're approaching one campaign every quarter. I say 10 mini campaigns a year, but most of those campaigns aren't fundraising. But one fundraising campaign every quarter that looks a little different, and maybe consider skipping Giving Tuesday, regardless of messaging. So again, if you have any questions about end of year giving or Giving Tuesday, I am here for it. Drop them in the comments. I am here to answer whatever questions you have. If you, like me, had a surprisingly unsuccessful Giving Tuesday, or maybe successful, but just like successful-ish, you are not alone. Again, go join. There's so many great Facebook groups for nonprofit leaders where you can network, get free access to information, build community, join some Facebook groups, and you'll see that this is happening across the board. You are not alone. And the best thing we can do, I call it, we at the us nerds, nonprofit marketing nerds, we call it failing forward. And so for many of us right now, we've learned a lot from this Giving Tuesday, and we are failing forward to better fundraising in 2025. Thank you for joining me. And yes, indeed, if you're coming here looking for the question, is Giving Tuesday dead? I think, yes, it is. Take care.